So what's on the Oklahoma Guru's mind today? Well, I'm going to talk to the atheist and agnostic specifically, and as far as whether or not there is a God, and how does the fact that the word God is in a dictionary not give at least some value in our human existence? Can we simply just throw the word God out of the dictionary and say it no longer exists, and find a way to just fully retract it from the minds of those who have heard the word and know its definition? That's impossible. So the word God definitely has an effect on the human mind when we talk about the word. But how do we see ourselves within the universe is most key whenever we talk about the superior and inferior. Now, I've said this before, but the word God is a title for that which has dominion. It is described by Jesus Christ when he talks to the people who wanted to stone him for calling himself the Son of God. He says, "Is it not written in your law that ye are gods?" But somehow we cannot distinguish the fact that the word God is more than just the supreme being, the creator of the universe, as some people say. Now, I would never say that the universe is created. It is the creator of all things. Within its sphere, it has created man, woman, child, and many other things. But within the universe, it also has the individual God that also has created and gave the universe even more variety. So the idea that somehow a God does not exist because we have not seen a God, now that's kind of what would you say, defiancy in our common sense, I guess. Common sense that says that if we have laws or that we must obey, such as the law of gravity or what we fill our mind or fill our bellies with, such as hydrochloric acid, would definitely kill us if we ingest it. So we just can't go about and say there is no laws or nothing has dominion over us. We have to play within those rules and those laws to be able to preserve our own lives. So to simply state that because the Christians and their ways of thinking about the nature of God extinguishes all definitions of God that come into play would be foolish, in my opinion. Just because somebody's got it wrong doesn't mean everybody's wrong when it comes to the definition of God. And even at that, when I debate people on Facebook or whatever about the nature of God or the reality of God or not, they never do come up, the atheists never come up with a definition. So if they have no definition, then how are you going to explain how you, well, let's back up just a moment. If you don't come up with a definition of a God that doesn't exist, how can you want to debate the point? So they've lost already, I would say, because so let's put it this way. The question would be then, if there's no God, let's say there's no God, because the word God has a certain premise that's founded on, and it all stems from Christianity and their idea of the Big Bang and how the universe came about. Well, then let's talk about a supreme being or creator. And can can those things exist in our universe? Well, in my pursuit of understanding of this idea of a God being in existence comes from our own science that we have today. Our own science is teaching us that we can ourselves have godlike attributes in the way that we create. We procreate our children into the world. We have created a new one of us. It came after the image and the likeness of our own being. What about the fact that we can mechanically alter genes and splice genes and make new species of plants, or even animals that we have been able to clone or to bring forth through genetic research? Are they not godlike attributes, being able to create mechanically? And what about the attribute of being able to speak things into existence? Well, you take a 3D printer and Google, you tell Google to unlock your door or lock your door or turn on your audio video equipment. It does it for you.
Here's something from Amazon.
Without you even batting an eye, just speak to it. So what about the 3D printer and the Google that can you ask Google for a 3/8 bolt and it says what length do you want? 3 inches, and it asks you what threads do you want, fine or coarse, and you tell them coarse, and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, that 3D printer has made you a 3/8 bolt, 3 inches long, and therefore you didn't even have to mechanically alter anything. You actually let a computer do all the work for you. Now we are becoming more and more advanced, and even to the point where we're always exploring the capacity of the longevity of life and how we can extend the lifespan of a human being. Now we know that the lifespan of the human being continues to grow. It's said 100 years ago it was probably about 50 years old max, and most of the time. Some people lived older, but mostly they lived between 50 and 65 years old. And now we have people no problem living past 80 years old, it seems like. So are we exploring new ways to bring about the longevity of life? Of course we are. But what about colonizing other planets? If we have that idea in our heads and that we're exploring that idea, isn't that not a godlike attribute in the way that you set people on another planet as habitable, and you create a law and a foundation in which people will be able to thrive and to grow and to populate the planet? Isn't that go along with the godlike attributes? So just because right now man cannot create through the way that they would say God, the Creator, could do it, is not does not displace the idea that God doesn't exist, or he does exist. It just means that we should look at it through a more common sense kind of idea. We just can't say that a God doesn't exist because you don't see it, or maybe the world is not perfect, and therefore how could a perfect God create an imperfect world as it is? Just, you got to relax and on that idea, because that's an emotional apparatus in which you dismiss the idea that there's a God. Just because you don't want to have no rules or laws over you don't mean that there's not anything superior. It's just that you have turned your back on any idea that there's a God so that you can feel good about the way you live your life, maybe. Now, that's not true for everybody. What about science? Well, Let's look at science for a minute. The Big Bang is or evolution is the foundation for most atheist scientists, or most atheists. But but now you're looking at a problematic theory. Here you have a an explosion that happens 13.8 billion years ago, but yet the distance between one point of the universe to another is over 80 billion light years wide. And so, how do you get an effect from an explosion that happened 13.8 billion years ago over almost a 90 billion light year distance? Now they're saying that the explosions happened all over the universe, and that's how it came into being. Oh, they keep on moving the goalposts, what I hear. But anyway, it's been good talking to you about God and whether he exists or not. And hopefully this kind of lends a hand to those who are thinking about otherwise. And again, you leave a comment, or if you like the video, press like, and if you care to, subscribe and share the video, just in case it helps out. It's the Oklahoma Guru signing out. Have a good day.